Okay. All right. We are live. Let's go. Let's
What's
go. All
going
right.
on?
Well, what's going on, people? Thanks for joining us. If you're just jumping in here and watching us, this is a Drip Jobs partner spotlight. So we're going to be introducing and kind of bringing on some of our partners that we work with on a regular basis, and let them bring some value to everybody, right? And
Yes.
value to the industry. So first up, my good friend Aiden Smith. He's the founder of Smith and Co Painting, founder of Paint Pro Coaching. But Aiden, introduce yourself, man. Like, tell the people who you are.
Just a regular guy, part of a Facebook group.
uh,
Some people call me a coach. I own a painting business, have been in this industry for a long, long time. Man, we've made a super impact with our coaching group, Paint Pro Coaching, in this last 2 years specifically. Most of our guys use DripJobs as their primary CRM. So I think that's why this collaboration works, right? I have a lot of insight on optimizing, the CRM and going through the specifics because we built it out for a lot of people. And I honestly find that most painting contractors don't take advantage of all the tools and the platform that, DripJobs is. But it's cool to be a part of this group, right? And kind of see like the questions that pop up, the crazy stuff that Tanner posts, and the conversation. I'm just, proud to be a part of this industry, making an impact. And, thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Of course. So now a lot of people probably already know who you are, right? But a lot of people probably don't as well, too, right? So, I'd love to, learn a little bit more about that journey, right? So how did you go from, just a guy, right? And said, I think I'm gonna start a painting business, and then made it successful. And then I think I'm gonna start a coaching program, and then made that successful. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that can really connect with that journey and some of the stuff that you've gone through. So tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that I kind of have when it comes to like this industry is I can relate to these guys, right? Been in a lot of their shoes, right?
Yeah.
I first started when I was 16 and I was working for my my father-in-law, painting apartments, right? $70 a day. That's what I started off at. And I had a few friends that I recruited to help, right? And I was the one that lasted and, worked my way up a little bit working with him. And I think that he was the first one to really like see something in me. Like it was like, hey, like this guy's more than a painter. Like we'll see what happens, but I see some more stuff from him.
Yeah.
So he tried to keep me around, but I honestly wanted to get a degree. Nobody in my lineage, my family's history had ever been like really successful. Right. There's maybe one that I could point to. And, so that kind of drove me and, came from humble beginnings, like a lot of guys, right? Didn't have much growing up, pretty much a single family household, right? So I really had to take leadership and make it happen. So I thought, I don't want to be a painter because I know that's hard. Being a painter is freaking hard, right? Especially if you don't love it and don't have that passion. I really commend the craftsman, the guy that's like, hey, I love this, right?
Yeah.
And I would never want him to do anything that he doesn't want to do. A lot of guys that we work with in the coaching, some of them we have to reject because they just want to be the painter. And that's what they want to do and love. So it's not much I can do with them. So, but I say, hey, hats off to you. There's a space for you, right? You're going to do great. But for me, I was like, I like sales. I was like a tech nerd a little bit, right? So I got my degree in business. I ended up working for a couple of sales jobs, and I was top performer everywhere I went. I got promoted. I worked in sales for Verizon. That was like one of the jobs that I did probably the best at. I was like their business account manager. I got promoted. But then it came a point where I was like, I know how to paint. I'm an entrepreneur. I know how to sell.
Yeah.
You put those two together, right? Now you got a business.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And I went and did it my own way. And I was painting, right? Like a lot of guys do.
Yeah.
On the tools, getting it in every single day. And I slowly recruited more people, W-2 friends, people that worked for me. And I just got freaking overwhelmed big time.
Okay.
And not even like because I was doing such big numbers, but because what my role was every day was on the tools, doing all the invoicing, doing all the sales, managing, like it was so much that one day I just had a breakdown. I just said, hey, I got to get off the tools. Like, I can't be doing this. And obviously that takes time, right, to actually make the transition. But there came a slow time where I went and sought work. And one of the people we reached out to was CertaPro, right? So I kind of worked up the ladder there. So I became a sub for them, which I know a lot of guys do for bigger companies. So look, I went through that journey as well.
Yeah.
Then I became a job site supervisor for an actual in-house crew. Then I became a commercial production manager. And I wasn't there a super long time, but I learned a ton in that process. And the guy I worked for was super, super smart. And then COVID hit. Right?
Okay.
COVID hit, right? And it was kind of my out, because you can't just, when you work for a company like that, you can't just up and start your own thing, right? There's like legality issues and whatnot. And they were like, look, we have to like let you guys go for right now, right? Because the world's uneasy. You can't even go outside. You can't sneeze on each other, or you're gonna die, right? That was the time.
Yeah.
And we were having a kid at the time, and I just said, this might be an opening for me to do my own thing. Everything I learned, everything I went through. And that's when I kind of figured it out.
Yeah.
Be more of the leader, be the manager, and you can open up a world for even the guys that work for you that you didn't even know that was possible, right? Money start flowing in, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that's when I finally figured out, like, okay, there is a blueprint for this painting business. I don't have it fully refined, but I was able to do bigger numbers with less work. And I know a lot of guys want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess I'll stop there. And I'm going like a tangent.
No, man, I love
it. To keep going.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. I love hearing that like, you know, those details of that journey. Like, I'm sure there's a ton of people that have gone through that same thing. You know, they've been, I've tried with this bigger company and that bigger company. I've subbed out. I tried to go on my own. I got overwhelmed. You know, kind of you kind of already mentioned kind of having that sort of that breaking point almost of like, I got to get off the tools. Like, you know, so no, it's awesome, man. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can relate to that. So when was that kind of, you know, it was almost a mind shift set, right? Like at some point in there, like I can hear your story and I can see it, but at some point in there, something probably shifted. And, you know, maybe it was after COVID, maybe it was when that, you know, that first baby came along, you know, when was that? And when was that mind shift of like, all right, I got to do this. I got to go.
So I know the exact moment. Like, I came home and I had a guy that I worked for, like a GC type of guy. And he was like, we need this job done tonight. And it was like 8 o'clock at night. Right. And I'm like, I got a job tomorrow I got to go to. I can't. I'm like, you're bending me over backwards, right? Like you're trying to get something out of me that I don't physically have to offer. Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't the biggest business in the world. So I was just leading the charge. And I was at that point where I was like, something has to change. So I remember just being in my garage, like crying, cleaning my tools for the next day, thinking, screw this guy. Who does he think he is? I'm trying my hardest. Right. And I realized that I was just working the wrong way. Right. It wasn't being a business owner in my painting business. I was just being a painter. Right. And then I, you know, at that time, my family's sleeping, hadn't seen them all day. So for me, it was just like, screw this, you know. But obviously it takes time. There's a transition period. So a lot of the guys, like even that we coach, they'll be on the tools. And it's not as simple as stop being on the tools, right? You can't just put down the brush next day, not show up and not do the work, right? There's a transition period. So I'm very well rehearsed on how to do that and what that looks like. And when I made that change and finally started empowering my guys, they ran with it, surprisingly. And I was like, wow, this actually works. And it got to a point where we had moved to Florida when we kind of got steam with the painting business. And I realized that I could go far with this. I kind of went crazy. And I started running the business remote for a full year once I moved to Florida, because, you know, if you ever been to like the Philadelphia area, a little bit sketchy, it's getting a little bad, right? If anybody knows, they can relate. And I just wanted to get out of there. I was having the kid now, family is bigger than me. And I ran it remote for a year and we did okay, but it was challenging. Like, it was testing my friendships, my relationships. Up to that point, all the guys I knew that worked for me, they were like my friends. Right. Like, they were guys that I grew up with and they wanted to paint and they were W-2 with me. And then they were like, no, I want to do my own thing. And I was like, cool. I would love for you guys to do your own thing. Work with me. Any jobs you get, you guys can do your own thing, but like have the steady work with me. Right. Because I know what that's like to kind of be off and on. So I taught them like the business side of things, helped them out, you know, allowed them to be subs with me. And then it got to a point where, you know, when you're not around, there's no like leadership built out. It's a little younger. It was just hard to do. So I closed it down, took a little break. And that's when I kind of like discovered the coaching, right?
Yeah.
Because I was like, I know the model. I have the blueprint now. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people are dealing with this. And it was cool because when I was on TikTok and Instagram and pushing my coaching, there
Mhm.
were nobody interested, right? Because I was a nobody. It was
Mhm.
like, who is this guy saying he could help
Yeah.
me pay business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had made 50 straight videos grinding,
Just
trying to push what I knew in my coaching. And I got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm going to do 3 people free just to get it rolling, right?
yeah.
Ended up being 2 people
Yeah.
because there's really no demand.
Yeah.
And then those 2 people, I mean, one is my good buddy and he's doing his own thing and he's doing fine. But
Yeah.
another like changed his life. Like my man was dead broke and
Yeah.
now he has a painting business that is running. Not like the craziest, but it changed his life and he's like forever in debt. Calls me all the time. Hey man, I just want to let you know what you did for me was just unbelievable. So like that was really like, all right, cool. I got something. And then
Yeah.
it just kept flowing. More people kept coming in. And man, like I love what I do. I'm so passionate about it. I'm not the biggest painting business connoisseur. You won't see me in the comment section of a lot of these posts in the groups,
Yeah.
but I love supporting the industry, the relationships I've made, and
Yeah.
hopefully the change and impact that I'm trying to do.
Yeah. 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 100%. Yeah. I mean, that I think, you hit it kind of nail on the head right there. Like that guy, right? Like that first guy changes his life around, probably, I mean, huge for him, right? I mean, for him, for his family, that was what it was kind of all about. And you probably saw that and was like, yes, like, let's
Yes,
keep that going. Right. Like, let's
100%.
keep cranking on that. So on the coaching business side, right. Um, talking about how many business owners you think you've helped out at this point, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've been going for a few years now, right? So, I mean,
Yeah. It's crazy, man. You learn a lot.
yeah,
I'm so much more educated on like the industry, how things work, numbers. And I didn't know everything at first. But
yeah,
when you work with different companies from different areas, right? Like I work with guys all over the United States,
yeah,
some in Canada. Like
yeah,
I know the differences of markets. I can tell you where you can be at price wise and be successful. Like there's so much data I've accrued from doing this.
yeah,
Um, but I would say indirectly, like just like on any kind of program or any maybe speaking arrangement I've done, you're
yeah.
talking about probably 1,000 guys plus that
Dang.
I've connected with, helped them install something into their business, gave them game. But
Yeah.
like directly, we have a free school group that we do free coaching calls every Thursday. Anybody can
Nice.
join.
And
That's
okay.
something that I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
put
yeah.
out there
Heck
because
yeah.
I want to teach on a topic, kind of
Yeah.
do what we're doing right now, where we're
Yeah.
giving game. Somebody
Yeah.
gets something from this. I'm sure we'll get into like very detailed,
Mhm.
um, plays they can make.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Thursday is designed to kind of just organically grow our community. And if you want us
Yeah.
to be with your painting business and grow that, definitely that's an avenue you can kind of have a
Yeah.
sneak peek on what we're doing.
Heck
Um,
yeah.
that has 600 guys growing every day. And then
Nice.
in our direct one-on-one, we've
Yeah.
done 300, case studies to where
Dang.
we've taken them from where they were to now where they're at growing their business.
Let's go. What's the biggest change you see happening? Right? Like you get somebody in your program,
Yeah.
and you scale and you grow, like it's not working, I mean, what's that big change, right? Like what do you guys do, cause some of your top items, right? That you make those changes within the program that really just takes them to the next level.
Yeah. I mean, the most fulfilling change is the mindset.
Okay.
You go in from like, hey, this is how I know how to do things. Like, for example, I'm a big fan of a subcontractor model. If you
Okay.
know me, you know that's a thing that I like. And I like hybrid. I worked for hybrid companies.
Mhm.
Hybrid's good. If you can do that, good, right? Build out your base.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you bring on a sub, you know how to properly vet them. You have decent systems and estimating to make sure that the job's worth it for them and that relationship works. You're talking you can double your business overnight, right? Guy
Dang.
that's doing 500K, he has 3 or 4 painters.
Yeah.
He brings on one sub. Usually they're about 2 to 3 guys deep,
Mhm.
maybe more. That's another crew you can add to the rotation
Yeah.
overnight.
That's
You just doubled your business. All
yeah.
you got to do is now spend a little bit more money on marketing, get more leads,
Mhm.
sell a little bit more,
Mhm.
manage one more job, which is easy, right? If you have at least decent systems, if you're anything of a manager,
Mhm.
they don't realize how easy it is. So once you prove that concept to yourself that is possible and that can happen,
Mhm.
You just look at what else can I do,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
like opens the floodgates, and then you
Yeah.
stop being the, hey, I'm a high paid painter, to now I have a real business. I get paid way more sitting in the office, sending these bids out,
Yeah.
taking the calls. Those things are what make me continue to do it, right? Because that's the easiest impact for me. But
Yeah.
like, that's the change that I want to see with everybody I work with. I want them to say to themselves, what I thought was possible before getting with Aiden and what he's doing, and after I went through his program, what I see was possible, I got to keep going. I got to keep investing. I got to keep learning. Like, a
Mhm.
lot of these guys go through my program and then go to another program. And I encourage that. Continue to get better, continue to grow, because there's other things somebody might be better than me at.
Yeah.
Right. And then they can just double down on that, get better with that skill. And now their people live better lives. Now they're building out real businesses. It's crazy. I've seen it
Yeah.
so many times. You would think like it's a miracle, but it's kind of like another day in the office for us.
Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, when you, like you said earlier, when you got the blueprint, when you know the system to put in place, you can kind of plug that in. Obviously, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Each scenario is a little different, right? So you make tweaks here and there. But when you've got that path to follow, just follow it and let's go, right? Like
Yeah.
sky's the limit. Where can you grow to? So, so one thing that I know about you, when it comes to systems and get your numbers right and stuff like that, is production rates, right? You're a big production rates guy.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't. A lot of people aren't. Let's talk about that for a second,
Sure.
right? I've heard so many stories of it can go one way or the other, right? Somebody can walk into a room and kind of guesstimate it out and give that quote out and
Yeah.
that proposal out, and then some people go in, measure and got their laser measures out, and they're going and taking numbers. But you're a big production rates guy, right?
Yeah.
Just give us what is that and why is it so important? And why
Yeah.
do you
So,
preach on it so much?
yeah. So production rate, it's so funny. Cause like that is like one thing we do, right? It's not like
Yeah.
all of the things we
Oh, of
do.
course, of
And
course. Yeah.
specifically Tanner was like, hey man, like these guys need help with this. Like a lot of these guys, I know I have a great tool, but they just need somebody to come in and maybe just give them a little bit of coaching up on it. So then we took the service that we did in our coaching and kind of outsourced it. So now
Mm.
anybody can just say, hey, Aiden, I need my estimating right. What does that look like? And you can do that overnight, right? In the next week or two.
Yeah.
But production rate estimating is basically time-based estimating, right? Because there's kind of three ways to estimate residential painting projects. There is
Mhm.
the guesstimate, right? Like, hey, I've been in this industry 10 years. I know how much I should charge for a bedroom. And they feel very confident about that.
Yeah.
But then when you get into a very, very big bedroom or an ornate room, or even
Mhm.
like, small, I mean, you've seen like halls before, like huge, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Massive.
How do you gauge a price on that?
Yeah, dude.
So it becomes one of those things that you become less confident when you're selling.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I never want to feel like my number's off, because when I'm at that kitchen table influencing them and saying, hey, this is the number we have to be at and like kind of our price, and going through that process, I never want to question my number. And a
Mhm.
lot of guys do. So when they lose the sale, they don't know if it's their sales process. They don't know if it's them, they did something, or if it was their number. I know if we can check that box with the number, it makes everything else so easy,
Mhm.
or a little bit simpler, right? So whenever we're going and setting up, let's just say production rates for someone,
Mhm.
a lot of people, one of the things we get feedback is, well, how do you know what's good for my market, right? Like, how do you know what
Mhm.
I should charge, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, based on markets, it's not about how fast your guys paint. Almost every painting company, pretty similar on how long it takes. It really is how much can you sell the job for on an hourly basis is the difference,
Mm.
right? Because let's just take Russell Peach, for example, right?
Right.
Everybody knows Peach.
Yep.
If you are a Peach, you can probably sell at a more premium rate because your brand's built out. You invest a lot of money in your sales process. People know you. You've been marketing a long time. You have a way more refined marketing system to where now I can come in and you already know Peach is going to be a little higher,
Mhm.
but you want the closure. I've seen you forever. I know I want that confidence. You're going to do a great job. And I know that's going to happen. Whereas another guy with maybe like 50 reviews on Google, not so much of a established name or brand, no real sales process, he will not be able to charge as much. They might do the job in the same amount of days, same amount of paint, same amount of process, but the sell rate will be different. So that's really what we found. And the cool thing is we get to go in and put our rates that we've refined throughout like many, many different markets. And then we just curate them just a little bit based on how you actually do it. The painting job, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if that answered the question, but my goal is for production rates is I wasn't the best salesman back in the day, right? But I knew if I knew my number and they knew how confident, passionate I was, that would be enough a lot of times.
Yeah.
I've since become better at sales, right? Like obviously if I'm doing this, I have to be decent,
Yeah.
but like a lot of guys don't have the natural sales ability. So if we can do that for them, it's such a game changer.
Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, the question, well, and the question of my area, that was one, that's a good point. And then, something you kind of touched on there of, talking about Peach as the example, right? He's got the brand, right?
Yeah.
So when you have guys coming into your program, how much focus do you put on kind of building, their own personal brand up, right? And their own, company brand up, right? And because like you just said, like people will pay a premium for it, right? If they know that, and if they see them, they recognize them, they like, oh yeah, like I know Russell, I know Aiden, I know Eli, yeah, man, I'll pay extra for him. I see his stuff. How much emphasis goes into that when you have somebody going through your program?
An extreme amount, right? It depends, right? Because our coaching is very customized to where you're at. Yeah. So we get it's not realistic that you can't spend $2,000 on a brand, a rebranding if you already have other things you have to spend on, right? We do it in a considerate way. Like we're not just going to say you have to do this and this is what it is. We take you where you're at and we lean into your strengths until you get to a point where you can make that investment, right? Yeah. So, no, super important. One of the mandatory things we have is you need to have professional headshots and photos of your team. Yeah. Because that's kind of like, it's kind of like getting a professional website. It's like the entry to having a painting business. If you don't have a professional website, I mean, you're not even competing. What do you do?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Same thing with the headshots, right? If you're going to be considered a premium home service provider and you're not looking the part because perception is reality.
Yep.
You're not going to be successful. You're not going to be able to charge the rates you think you're worth. I can quickly pull up somebody's online presence and know basically where they're at income-wise. Yeah. I know that's kind of crazy, but like you can kind of know, right? Especially for residential. Residential is such a perception game because you are selling a luxury. Painting is not a necessity. And people think it is, but it's not. You're not a roofer. You're not a plumber. They can live without a nice house. I mean, trust me. I grew up with it my whole life. We had a hole in our ceiling. We never called a painter to come fix it, right?
Yeah.
We don't need to give this, but like if we can market to a higher end audience, a more higher income driven audience, that's where we start to make the strides and it becomes easier. And the big guys know that. They understand that I can go to the higher income areas and look the part and I'll do just fine. Whereas the other guys in lower income areas that aren't worried about the branding because that's not what their client wants, they're struggling and they're like, how are they doing it? So I just gave you some game right there, guys.
Yeah. That was a huge one, guys. Yeah. That was awesome. That was really good actually. Yeah. That's could be a really cool transition for somebody if they take that and run with it, but awesome. Well, so we're in December, right? We're in December. We're coming into slow season for a lot of people. It's a stressful time for a lot of people, right? What do you suggest for people there, right? They're wondering what they're going to do. They're wondering business slowing down. I got guys sitting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you tackle that?
Yeah. So, actually me and Joe Mercado, just went into the podcast, Paint Your Path podcast. I'm going to shamelessly plug myself, but we are sponsored by DripJobs. So shout out. So we just went kind of like in depth. And one of the things was we a lot of times overproduce in the summer, right? Because those are like the big months. And then in December, it's like we have nothing. Right. And yes, exterior, falls off. But if you're trying to do things at this time, it's a little too late.
Yeah.
You have to plan this out strategically. Like you needed to have started marketing for exteriors at the end of Q3 or for interiors, in cabinets.
Yeah.
Right. So like there's alliances you can make, relationships you can make. But if you're going right now, it's a little too late. I would say the best thing you could do is take advantage of your customer base, right? DripJobs has an amazing tool that not many people use. This is what I've found after coaching people that use DripJobs, the email blast feature, right? You could literally go into your jobs pipeline, the people you have done work for, and remarket to them. Hey, we're doing a winter special 15% off for any previous client. What painting projects do you have that we can tackle for you before the year is over?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an easy email that you'll get some responses for.
Yeah. Yeah. Repeat work, if you've done the work for them already, and especially if you did a great job and you built that rapport, you built that relationship, and they remember you, they liked you, 100%. I mean, show up if you can get the interior work, show up with some cookies,
Yes.
I mean, like little things like that. Right. Now let's step back there. You said, kind of give us a rundown on like that time frame. You said, oh, you should have been doing this for Q3 what do you normally suggest there as we, over, kind of not, I don't want to say oversell, but like you do a lot of work in the summer and then you start rolling in slower months. What does that look like on your marketing cycles? Like, how do you plan that out to like make it through this time and then be already booked solid as soon as the season starts to change in the following year?
Yeah. Well, here's the cool thing, right? If you have the mindset of, hey, I can prepare for the winter, right, early on and get ready, and every single year you're a little slower.
Yeah.
What about those sales that you have that are on the fence and they say, you know what? We don't want to get it done right now. We're thinking maybe next year, something like that. Or maybe you're just a little bit too high, but we would love to go with you. Hey, we do have flexibility. We slow down a little bit in the winter and we have a lot of openings. So if you decide, hey, lock in your price now, you'll get locked into that price. We all know things change. Sherwin-Williams raised their price. Just things happen in the world where prices go up. Lock in your price now, and we'll even give you a discount, but you have to set your date for December, January, one of our slower months. People would be open to that, especially if they're not in a rush. And we get a lot of guys that are like, just looking for quotes. I'm not in a super rush. I know I need it done. If you have the mindset where you need to book December, January in those winter months, talk to your clients now about that before Q3, Q2, and start booking a little bit farther out.
Yeah.
That's a crucial play as well.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, for sure. Love it. Yeah, man. Good stuff. Yes. Yeah. What, so let's switch gears on you again. Let's talk, a little bit of a plug, but like, we've talked about a lot of stuff. How would somebody get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach out? We got Cody behind the scenes. He can plug some links for us there. What's the best way to reach out if somebody's, interested in the coaching program, man, if they want to at least have a conversation with you, because it's not just you, right? I mean, you have multiple coaches, what does that look like?
Yeah. So, man, again, I'm just super grateful to be doing this. Like, not many people can say that they consult, right, as a living. But the cool thing is we have a lot of things that, man, we're refined year over year, just got better, just got more dialed in. We're rolling out a new sales process, and we're even making a lot of our guys sign NDAs just in order to get it right. Like that's how high level it has gotten from since we started. Some of our guys from the early stages even came back and said, hey, Aiden, we want to go back again just to see what you got going on. So that's been very cool, and I'm grateful for that. But yeah, paintprocoaching.com. You can check out a lot of our case studies. We just actually launched a new video. It's like a high-end video, just kind of explaining like a little bit of what I'm talking about here, right? Just so you can get some insights into our coaching. What's cool is the coaches that we brought on, we didn't want to dilute the product, right? So I knew that everything ran through me initially. It was like I was the guy coaching every single person. So for me, hiring those coaches were one of the most important decisions to move forward, right? Because we have so much demand, I can't coach everybody. I would love to, but I can't, right? And we brought on two guys that have been coached by me directly, made amazing transitions, not only with the mindset, but with the actual frameworks, the business. I mean, we have a guy that is going to have a $5 million painting business, did 2.5 this year, is going to have a $5 million painting business next year. That's his goals as one of our coaches, right? Like, those are the things and the people that I want leading the charge, right?
Yeah.
So when you get into not only our coaching, you don't just get a designated coach. You get a group that is like, will take the shirt off their back for you.
Yeah.
Like we have one of the most powerful coaching calls we've had in a long time the other day. And like, I was just so grateful for the group. I mean, guys, their wins, sharing left and right. And just like, hey, I took this guy from this guy that I learned. That's not even my coach, but it's just somebody who went through the program that's here every week. And it's just powerful, man. So I love what we're building. I don't want to just blow up, right? So I can't just like say yes to everybody. So we're trying to qualify as much as we can and just keep the product very, very nice, good, keep our community strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, you practice what you preach too, right? I mean, Smith and Co painting, just crushing it. Your coaches, right? They're painting businesses, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure.
I do want to give game real quick, guys.
Yeah, man. Throw it out.
I know a lot of the people in the group, thanks for hanging around, first off. Yeah. But a lot of people in the group, I don't feel are taking advantage of what DripJobs is offering in their CRM because it's super powerful, guys. Not just production rates, job costing. I mean, our admin, I'll give you guys some game. Our admin job costs for us, right? So we run all of our materials directly through Sherwin-Williams. I try not to buy anything else. We've been doing a lot of like custom walls and stuff, so we have to go to Home Depot. But for the most part, everything's ran through Sherwin. And every single Friday, she job costs for all the jobs of the week. I don't do anything.
Yeah.
All I have to do is now have a meeting with my team and look at where are we at numbers wise? Are we hitting our marks? Maybe double check if something looks a little weird. And I can see all my numbers for the entire year. And that's a fully delegated process.
Let's go. Yeah. That's a good point. I want to revisit that really quick.
Yeah.
The delegation aspect, right? For people, you've said that a couple times, right? As we've been talking here. I mean, a really life practical, something that somebody could take away right now, right? If they're, getting to the point of they realize that they need to grow, they need to do something different. What's one of the first things that you would recommend delegating out?
Answering the phones.
100%.
Okay. Grab a cloud-based software, something like Open Phone, or they call it like Quo.com or something.
Yeah, they changed the name. Yeah.
Ring Central, any of these. I know there's Google Phone, Google Voice, whatever that is. Hire somebody that's going to handle the phones for you. Could be part-time. Doesn't have to be full-time at first, right? Like whatever your busiest hours are where you do most of your sales or you're maybe on the tools, whatever the case may be, have them answer the phones for the other hours. Because the worst thing and the last thing you want if you're a painting business owner is for somebody to want to give you work, give you a chance to bid their job. You don't know how big that job could be, what that opportunity could lead to, and you miss it because you have incompetence in your business and because you're too overwhelmed. Have somebody hold the front lines, bet on yourself that as that person, answers those phones, gives you more opportunities that you can get those leads across the finish line and sell. And what will that do for your bottom line, your gross revenue, the overall look of your company, the experience your clients have? It's not just about paying that person that whatever it is, 16, 20 an hour. You're getting so much more for just delegating the phones. That's one of the number one things we recommend.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Good piece. Yeah. Good piece. I like that. Yeah. So man, in summary, right? Delegate the phones.
Yeah.
Plan for the slow season, right? Have that mindset, get your mind right. What else? What other nugget of wisdom did we talk about? There were a lot of good things in there.
Really just like, I think you got to change your perspective. Like, I know we're talking about a lot of nuanced stuff, but like just change your perspective of what's possible. Cause there's a lot of guys watching this right now that probably, are dealing with a lot of things that I went through. Right. Like, I mean, on the tools, overwhelmed, wearing all the hats, right? Can't seem to make the profits that they need to. And if they were to just look themselves in the mirror and say, I can't do everything. I'm not Superman. I need to hire people that are going to take some of these tasks off of me. I got to trust my guys a little more. And the cool thing about doing that is you'll know who's going to be actually good for you and who's not, right? So you can get rid of the other guys.
Yeah.
Once you start make that kind of leap and mindset of like, I am not going to do everything. I'm going to actually build a business. Everything starts changing. I actually made a video about this the other day. And I said, there's kind of a ladder you go through when you're a painter or owning a painting company. The lowest rung is a painter, right? They only get paid so much. What's a painter get? Entry level 16. Maybe they can get up to 30 if they're the supervisor. Production manager makes a little more. Sales rep makes a little more. GM makes the most, probably, if you're looking at everybody but an owner.
Yep.
If you can every single day only focus on the tasks of the highest paid position, right? For some people, it's sales. They sell every single day. They will make way more money than the guy that's painting every day. Right?
Yeah.
Because now they can manage multiple jobs. Instead of, oh, let me hop on the job and make a couple $100, they can now sell a few deals and make tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I mean, your time to value, right, changes drastically at those different rungs. So absolutely awesome.
Yeah. And I'll give a book plug too. So one of the books we've been pushing in our group has been from Dan Martell, Buy Back Your Time.
Yeah.
One of the best books that you can read as far as like being an entrepreneur and understanding what the task that I'm doing, what I'm focusing on every day cost, right? And the higher that amount is, that's the best use of your time, the best and highest use.
Yep. Yeah. I always tell people there's only, time is essentially our greatest asset, right? Like you can't make any more of it. You can't buy any of it. There's just only so much of it. So, and it's kind of like the great equalizer, right? Across the board. So time, anything you can do to get more time back, to maximize time, to take time from this value to this value, huge, right? Huge game changer in business and life, family, kids, right? You want to talk about time in relation to family and kids. That's a huge one.
Huge.
I mean, right. I'm sure, we didn't even touch on that, right? About family, kids, stuff like that. When you kind of made that transition and you started to really get systems in place, how much time you got back. I mean, I'm sure that was massive for the family, right?
Yeah, dude, we got one on the way, right? Like I got a little girl on the way. And the cool thing is, another thing I preach is calendar management, right? If you can dial in your calendar and know exactly what your day, what your week looks like, now you can start plugging in things for yourself, your hobbies, your family, right? I know my obligations. I have to be here. I can't go out with the family right now, right? So if you start to be intentional about your calendar, you can start literally changing your life, right? Because you can see what you're going to be doing. And the cool thing is, like, now that I have that dialed in, I can make so much more time for them. I know that, hey, if I hire 2 coaches, my calendar doesn't get any more flooded, right? So think about that with your painting business. You're going to be hiring a sales rep and paying a little bit of money, sure, but what are you going to be able to get back in return? And how are you going to be able to help your business in other ways, or maybe grow other locations, or whatever the case may be, because you're making that investment? And most of the time, I know a lot of painters don't break down the numbers as much. The numbers work out, right? Let's just say your goal is $1 million and you want to do it yourself. You could do it yourself, or you could pay roughly 8% to a sales rep. He makes 80,000. Selling $1 million isn't the hardest thing in the world, right? We're talking 2 to 3 appointments a day, maybe. That's a trade that I might be willing to entertain, right?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I agree with you on the time stuff. You and I have talked about this in the past. I've got my wall calendar over here that I can visually see. That visual, being able to visually see that entire year, you can plan it out. I mean, that's massive. Massive for sure. So just, again, going back to that time value, knowing that time value, where's your time going? How can I gain it back? For sure. So, all right, man. Well, we're coming up on time, but, guys, for everybody who's stuck around, Aiden Smith, huge tons of value brought today. Paint Pro Coaching, check it out in the comments, links there. Paint Your Path podcast. Check those out. Aiden and Joel rocking it on a lot of those. Check that out. Tons of value there. All kinds of good nuggets on that front. But yeah, man. So Aiden, leave us with a golden nugget, right? Do this one thing, in your business.
Yeah. So I'm gonna plug myself again because I think it's important. You guys have to go on Spotify or YouTube to the Paint Your Path podcast, because if you want to understand a little bit more in depth on how we're wired, me, Joel, what we coach on, all the different nuanced things, you talk about gems. If you just go through a few podcast episodes, guys, you will have so much homework to do with your painting business. It's going to make you rethink the trajectory of 2026. So make sure you guys go check out what we have going on. Paint Your Path podcast, YouTube, Spotify. It is for painting entrepreneurs only, guys. So if that's you and you feel that, hey, I want 2026 to be one of the best years that I can possibly put forward, listen to a couple episodes. I promise you, you won't be let down.
Yeah, love it. Awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody who stuck around with us. Thanks for Aiden showing up for us and giving us some value here. So, guys, appreciate it. We'll see you on the next one. We're going to do more of these, and we'll see you on the next one. All right.
Thanks, guys.